How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the many interpretations of Suchomimus, the spinosaurid that lived in the early Cretaceous of what is now North Africa and went extinct at around 112 million years ago. I love spinosaurids. Of course, many of you know this. Spinosaurus is literally my favorite dinosaur ever, but the whole family of dinosaurs is just incredibly fascinating. So this is one that I'm just very excited to get into. I'm very excited to see the different takes on its design, where it varies, and where they're similar. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So we'll start off with National Geographic's Colossal Claw. If you haven't seen this documentary, I recommend watching it. It's only 20 minutes long, and I think you can find it on YouTube. And basically what it does is highlight the discovery of Suchomimus, which is really cool because, it's always exciting to find new discoveries like that, and kind of having it showcased in its own little documentary is always a really, really fun thing. So this is probably the first portrayal of the animal, and it doesn't come in the form of like a CGI model or anything like that. It comes in the form of a reconstruction model towards the end that kind of gives everybody a decent idea of what this animal would have looked like in life. And, because it's based off of the actual science that they had at the time, it's pretty good, all things considered. It's pretty shrink wrapped all around. You can really see its ribs and everything like that. But everything else looks fantastic because it is actually based off of the true skeletal material. The skull looks great. The way that this snout looks, which is a very crocodile-like snout, hence the name Suchomimus, which translates to croc mimic or crocodile mimic, or one of those. It has these massive, powerful arms with three fingers with enormous claws, just absolutely massive claws that would have been perfect for just grabbing on to prey, like most likely fish and stuff like that, and just kind of like slicing it out, as well as these tall neural spines, because Suchomimus did have tall neural spines, similar to Spinosaurus. Of course, though, they were not as large as Spinosaurus's was. Still, they were something that were present, and that's present here. So this is a great first part of the list. So we can only go up from here, essentially. Next up is Dino Croc. Now, this is a movie. This is just a fun monster movie that apparently this guy is Suchomimus. It's just incredibly stylized or mutated or something along those lines. So it has traits that are a little bit more similar to a crocodile, like the skull looks a lot more like a crocodile, but it has a body that is a lot more similar to a theropod dinosaur body, which of course does match up to Suchomimus decently well. I mean, this one specifically doesn't, just the whole idea of it having a theropod dinosaur body does. Really, the most I could say is that it's just stylized. It looks more like a souped up crocodile than it does a Suchomimus. You gotta love it for that. Then after that, we have Dinosaur King. This one looks pretty good too. I mean, it certainly does look like a Suchomimus, if a bit shrink wrapped. Once again, it is extremely thin, but it does have a lot of the traits that we often place with Suchomimus, like this long crocodile-like snout with teeth that are curved backwards and a lot more rounded, which are absolutely perfect for snatching up fish as well. And again, the massive arms with 3 fingers and of course claws on those fingers. The green coloration is really cool, and it has some like classic dinosaur stripes on it, which is always really fun to see. But this is another pretty decent one. Then we have When Crocs Ate Dinosaurs, which is a documentary that I really want to see. It's been on my list for the longest time. But we have a Suchomimus squaring off with a Sarcosuchus, an image that is probably pretty popular, especially with pieces of paleo art like this one right here. The CGI quality isn't exactly the greatest, and that's likely due to budgetary reasons. But for what it is, this also isn't bad. I mean, the skull, or rather the snout, is a lot shorter than it likely would have been on Suchomimus. But everything else looks pretty decent, aside from the fact that it is, of course, breaking its hands. But it does still have huge arms, 3 fingers, and the tall neural spines. So practically everything really matches up to what we actually know about the animal. Pretty cool image in general. It's like really puts things into perspective, Now, after that, we have the hatchling. This is a YouTube film, a short film that is located here on YouTube. Here's the channel that you can find it. So I'm not going to say too much about it. Suchomimus does appear in it, but that's as much as I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil anything, because I do encourage you go and watch it. Really, the design looks beautiful. Skull looks great. The rest of the body looks really great. Tall neural spines. Colors look awesome. I like the little crest that it has, which I think most of them have had crests by this point. No, everything looks beautiful. Absolutely phenomenal job on that design right there. And then we move on to Jurassic World. So first I'll talk about this little piece of concept art that we saw for Dominion. Now, a lot of folks have, of course, informed me, and I've heard this source as well, that this is not a Suchomimus, and rather this is a Baryonyx, which would be interesting because, of course, this is a very different design from the actual Jurassic World Baryonyx design. And when I saw this piece of concept art, I assumed it was meant to be Suchomimus because of how different it looks from the Baryonyx. I'm including it regardless because it looks beautiful. That concept art is just absolutely stunning, and it would have been so cool to see a Suchomimus go on the rampage with Carnotaurus. You know, that would have just been so cool. So I wish it happened, but Allosaurus is cool too, so that works. But from then on out, we got our official Jurassic franchise debut of Suchomimus and Chaos Theory. And I've talked about this design quite a bit. And basically, what you need to know is that I love it. It is so incredibly amazing. I think that they absolutely nailed it. The whole body looks great. You can see a little bit of the tall, narrow spines. I mean, they might not be as pronounced as they probably should be, but you know, that's mostly a nitpick. The hands look good. The claws look really good. The colors I think are really cool. I especially love this kind of like card art right here of it going up against a hippo, which is a very fun concept. I love it, and I can't wait to see more of it in season 2. Which honestly, this video is being recorded before season 2, so after I watch season 2 of Chaos Theory, I'm gonna have like an extra clip after this one. Who knows what I'll say? Absolutely amazing. They killed it in every possible way. Of course, Suchomimus had a much more of a presence in season 2, and it was just absolutely flippin' beautiful, especially with things like the whole fight with the hippo, which I was very, very excited to see because that's like a really nice instance of both like the past and the present just kind of clashing together. It was phenomenal. Everything was phenomenal. The designs were dialed up to 11 with Suchomimus. It came in a few different colors, and just everything was perfect. Everything was absolutely perfect, and I'm so incredibly happy for it. Which, by the way, I actually have my review of Camp Cretaceous Season 2 put up if you know, if that's something you want to see. It's yeah. Now, of course, we'll move on to the rest of the Jurassic franchise appearances, which just contains a lot of video games. So first off, we have Warpath Jurassic Park. Looks really good. Of course, looks extremely similar to Baryonyx, I'd say. At least the head mostly does, which makes a lot of sense. In real life, Baryonyx and Suchomimus have very similar skeletal structures. Like if you just like glanced at them, like from just like a distance or something like that, they would look extremely similar to one another. And that has been a problem for a lot of different years. It has led to debates. And of course, I'm sure you can guess what the debate is. Is Suchomimus an actual animal, or is it simply just another species of Baryonyx? Because if it is another species of Baryonyx, then that's a whole can of worms. Well, I can say right now that as of 2017, there was a research paper that was published that basically just says that they are separate. There are enough skeletal differences to distinguish the two of them. So Suchomimus, as it currently stands, is not an African species of Baryonyx. But of course, they are still very similar Spinosaurids. But I do like this one. But all of the proportions are still in that kind of like Warpath style, as in they're all kind of like rigged onto the same model, so they all look relatively the same, but it does still have some of the traits that you would recognize, like the large arms, a little bit of a tall, narrow spine, but not much. And the colors are really cool. So all around, I think it's really good. Then after that, we'll move on to Jurassic Park Builder, and it all looks really good. Very similar to Baryonyx, but I like the kind of spikes that go up. It kind of emphasizes the spine that would have been present there. And a lot of the colors that you can give this guy are really cool, or that it gets when you level it up, you know. Now there's Jurassic World the game, and this pretty much looks pretty good. This does indeed look like Suchomimus. You can see the tall neural spines that are present. The snout looks pretty good. I mean, the nostrils might be a little bit too low. But it has the whole basic shape of Suchomimus. The arms look pretty decent, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it, you know? It starts out with this kind of like bland coloration. It gets more colors the more you level it up, and this is what level 31 to 40 looks like. Very neat. Jurassic World Evolution 2. Easily one of my all-time favorite dinosaur designs in this game. Looks gorgeous. Frontier killed it with this one, and it's been like consistently great since the first Jurassic World Evolution because it's pretty much always had this very consistent build. It's pretty reminiscent to the website design, of course, and the website design looks absolutely beautiful. I miss that design. And the color scheme of the website design is even one that can be pulled off in this game, and I think that was the standard color in the first game. I think it's the standard color in this game too, or maybe not. I don't know. Regardless, everything looks phenomenal on this guy. It's got the very good looking arms. It's got the head. Good thing it has a head. It has the skull, like the snout, the elongated snout. Kind of pause things to like look at those teeth. This is a good way to get a good look at those teeth. But you'll notice how they're like very small, but they're really kind of rounded and they're curved backwards like that, like a lot of carnivorous teeth were. Those teeth were definitely perfect for snatching up fish, as well as that little notch that it has on in its snout. These guys were really suited for a piscivorous diet, and you just gotta love it. You just gotta love it. Even the hands are held in the correct direction. Like, that's awesome. Um, really, there's not much else I can say. Let's see the social animation. It's so cool. I love it so much. I seriously do. These guys, they're so good. They're really good. Again, not to beat a dead horse or to, well, not to get annoying, I guess, to repetitive. This is just one of my favorites. I love it. It's so good. Frontier did a really good job with it, and just 10 out of 10. What else can really be said? It's beautiful. And now Jurassic World Alive. Now, this one's an interesting one because there was an old model in this game that looked like this. It didn't look that great. But now there's this one. And this one does look great. This one looks really good. I really like this one. Head looks good. Arms look good. They're broken, of course. I mean, the wrists are. You can see the claws that are present. One of the innermost claw, or the thumb claw rather, is larger than the other two, which is pretty true. You can make out what are meant to be the tall neural spines, and I can notice that this type of color scheme is quite popular among Suchomimus reconstructions in the Jurassic franchise. But this one's good. This one's good. I think this is a healthy remodel. I mean, the eyes kind of look strange. They're like huge, which is kind of funny. But yeah, no, it looks good. I like it. And then in Jurassic World Primal Ops, this looks good. This looks really good. I really quite like this. So there is a pattern with the Jurassic World franchise, and that is that everything looks absolutely beautiful. I'm pretty sure I already mentioned it, but the website design looked fantastic. Chaos Theory, it looks fantastic. Most of the video games that we saw, it looks fantastic. Suchomimus is just one of those dinosaurs that has just gotten right in the Jurassic franchise, and I am all here for it. It is just absolutely beautiful. Wanted to talk about this one real quick. This is, of course, Suchomimus for the Isle. I believe that this will be for the Isle Legacy. And it looks fantastic. I'm a huge fan of it, as per usual, typically. Everything looks really good. The snout looks really good. The whole body shape looks really good. I love that you can see the tall neural spines. A lot of the basic stuff. The arms look really great. And I kind of like how, the way that the throat looks. It kind of looks like it has a little bit of a throat pouch. A little bit reminiscent to what Irritator might have possibly had, although probably not as huge as Irritator's likely was. For whatever reason, the Isle Legacy isn't loading up right now, so I wasn't able to play it in-game. But it did exist in the Isle Legacy too, so yeah, there's that. Looks really good. I really like it. Now we have this handsome little fella in Path of Titans. So we get 3 different models of it, of course. We have Tenorensis, which is the only confirmed species of Suchomimus that we know of, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm up to date on that. And then there's also Laparenti, I believe is how it's pronounced, and Anguilla. Of course, they just add some spines or some spikes and stuff like that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, all things considered. Okay, and then here is the handsome fella in action. So, again, it looks good. I'm really a huge fan of this. I really like the type of crest that it has on its head. Something that we see quite often with, other Spinosaurids, like Spinosaurus. The arms look really good. Of course, the arms on Suchomimus are really notable because, I probably mentioned it a lot already, but they're these huge and powerful arms with just massive claws. The claws in general were one of the most notable things about the animal. The snout looks fantastic, properly thin, with those very interesting looking nostrils. And it does have the tall neural spines that honestly kind of make it look like a little bit of a hump right here, which I think looks really cool. So I think it's fantastic. I'm a little bit almost out of frame. Oopsies. I just think it looks really good. I typically think that Alderaan Games does knock it out of the park, and I'm pretty sure that this guy's been reworked. I think it used to look slightly different with the previous one, but then it had a TLC, of course, and now it looks like this, but I think this looks really good. Like Pathotines easily has one of my favorite Suchomimus designs. Let's wrap it all up by getting a fish, you know? Live up to our Spinosaurid heritage of piscivory. I bloom. I missed him. I bloom. There we go, chat. This might be canon right here. It's actually kind of cool. But yeah, that is the Pathotitans Suchomimus. Okay, now we have the prior extinction Suchomimus. Now, I was going to do it in the game, but I don't have Suchomimus unlocked yet on that, and it's really like kind of finicky on the console. So we're just going to look at images of it. Looks beautiful. It actually really does look beautiful. I'm actually really impressed with this too. I mean, that should probably go without saying by this point. Look how cool that one looks. That one looks fantastic. Like my only thing is that it's probably not as apparent on this model that it has tall neural spines. Like it kind of looks just regular throughout the whole animal's body, but everything else looks really good. It has the proper snouts. The arms look fantastic, facing the correct direction and everything. Has a little bit of a crest up here, and a lot of these colors that you can give it look really good. So no complaints, you know. If only I was able to play it in the game, but hey. One day. One day. I mean, I know it worked with the Deinonychus, but it's very finicky on the console. And again, I don't have it unlocked, so. But it looks really good. Some really cool colors with this one. Just 10 out of 10. And there we have it. So this is, of course, just an extremely fascinating dinosaur. Upon its initial discovery, it was really emphasized as an animal that was certainly adapted for a piscivorous diet, which means that it eats fish. You know, this is stuff that I alluded to throughout the rest of the video, but I'm definitely going to emphasize it more right now. It has those teeth that are kind of like hooked back, just like fish hooks, and were a lot more rounded in shape. That was just absolutely perfect at snatching that struggling prey that would be fish, and not necessarily that good at going after like land creatures, you know, like terrestrial creatures. It also had those massive claws, with the thumb claw being absolutely incredibly huge. And the way that they were kind of positioned, it seems like they would be able to kind of grasp a little bit, not much, not like an opposable thumb or something like that, but to the point where it could probably just like snatch up a fish or something like that, or simply just kind of swipe it. The exact use of the claws and arms is a matter of debate, of course, but it is something that's really fun to think about. It also has that long, elongated skull, that elongated snout that is just extremely thin, has high raised nostrils, and you just have everything that is just suited for a piscivorous diet. This is why Spinosaurids are so fascinating to me. You know, it's why I love Spinosaurus, it's why I love Baryonyx, Irritator, Ichthyovenator, all of them are just really cool. And Suchomimus is one that I certainly do think is an incredibly awesome dinosaur. So this was a lot of fun diving into, and yeah, no, I just had fun with it. So once again, I'm going to say a little bit of an announcement. My wife and I are currently working on a Patreon. I still have no idea when it's going to be coming out, but it will be soon because we're getting pretty close to getting all of the tiers figured out and all that good stuff. I hope I can provide some good like benefits to like subscribers of the Patreon and stuff like that. Like I hope that, you know, it would be like just really professional level and whatnot. So just kind of like keep an eye out for that. I will, of course, be announcing it when it does go live, and I hope to see a lot of you there. But that is pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.